what is a brand, right? And when people talk about things like values and brand position, brand promise, right? What does it mean?
So to my mind, actually, there are multiple definitions, and the internet is full of it, and each B school is teaching that. But to my mind, a brand is something we experience. A brand, Nikhil is a brand, Apple is a brand, Mercedes is a brand. You think about it, chewing gum is, Wrigley's is a brand, water, Bisleri is a brand. So everything that we see, think, experience can call out to. I can call you Nikhil. I can call my phone an Apple phone. That's a brand. And everything we do, we associate with certain things. Whenever we think of Apple, at least whenever I think of Apple, I always think of cutting edge innovation. I think of simplicity of use. I think of sleek design. I think of modern. Whereas if I think of something older, I think you and I grew up with it. Gen Z didn't. But when we think of landlines and telephones, we think of something old. We think of something clunky. We think of something black with those bakelite handles which used to lift. You couldn't carry. You could only carry as long as the wire would go. So look at that versus the Apple phone today and how things have changed. They're both a phone. There's a whole generation of people who will not know that brand, but who will know this. Mahatma Gandhi is a brand. Mother Teresa is a brand. Hitler is also a brand, actually.
Yeah.
So what do you associate with a Hitler versus you associate with a Gandhi? It's extremely different things. So actually, brands are touch, feel, see, a combination of all of that, and the stories those things or people or places tell. For example, I see so many people, it's summer, everybody wanting to go to Switzerland for a holiday. Switzerland is a brand. What it promises you, isn't it? It promises scenic beauty. It promises great, for you and me, it promises a silsila and tulips. But for the younger generation, it promises mountains and chocolates. So brand does not necessarily mean something we can hold, like a phone. It means a country. It means a person like you or Mahatma Gandhi or Hitler. It's actually anything which you can touch, feel, see, smell, perfumes. They're based on smells. Here, all of them put together, and you have a story which is associated with it. The difference between a brand and a great brand is great brands tell consistent stories.
Mm.
Coca-Cola has stood the test of time. Its narrative remains unchanged. Nike has stood the test of time. Of course, their core product offering changes with the time. The way they communicate, the way they tell their story changes. Switzerland, for example, has stood the test of time. Mahatma Gandhi, while that brand no longer exists, has stood the test of time because the stories continue. You and I read about it, right?
Sure.
So I think great brands have a coherent story and they communicate that beautifully. All of us, what we feel about Apple, if you ask in a blind test, people of different age profile, people of different nationality, they will say common things about Apple. And second or the third word would be Steve Jobs, right? Because the man became ubiquitous with the brand. The man was the brand. He sort of lived the brand. Simplicity in the way he spoke, in the way he dressed, and all of that. So I always say everything and everybody is a brand, right? But then there are great brands and there are not so great brands.
Sure.
And great brands have a great story, which fills the consumer mind space. So they
Sure.
connect with the consumer and tell the story. Sorry, I sort of double clicked into your question.